Hello, everyone. First Fridays with Ambassador Terry and friends. And I have a really good friend, Henry Wang from Hong Kong. Hello, Henry. Thanks for being here, dear friend.
Hello, Terry. It's really nice to meet you again. And I've
Yeah,
enjoyed our previous podcast together.
yes, we've had a lot of them. 10 of them on your book, on one book alone. So that was fantastic. I so enjoyed that. So yeah, here we are with the first Friday, and you have been busy. Let's talk about that because that's really relevant to what's going on out here today. So, why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah, well, been after we've finishing the podcast last podcast on my book, there's been a lot of interest in Hong Kong and globally on this. And happy to share this with you and your audience. Been invited to speak about climate change and sustainability. To one thing very exciting really is to be invited to speak recently in a big charity event in Hong Kong to over 400 elders and young people about climate change and sustainability.
Delightful, delightful. And you speak a lot. You've been on a member of the B20, G20 Indonesia, and great stuff like that, which has given you some inroads to some different things. And it's exciting. You're going to address some very high level people at Windsor Castle, I hear. Maybe you can tell us about that.
Oh, thanks, Terry. Yeah, that was a great honor to be invited by Lord Howell, who chairs the Windsor Energy Group, to speak at the Clean Energy Summit that he's holding in Windsor Castle. This is a very, very important event. He's bringing in Lord Howell was the former Energy Secretary and Foreign Secretary of the United Kingdom. So he knows a lot of people globally, and he's bringing in a lot of people from US, Japan, China, Hong Kong, and Europe together to talk about the development of clean energy globally, and also how green investment are so important to solve the climate problem globally. And he's also bringing in, as he chairs the Foreign Relationship Committee in the House of Lords, he's also bringing in, during the summit, a special event for ambassadors from different countries. We will be holding a meeting with all the ambassadors in the dungeon of Windsor Castle. And it's going to be a really special event.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And you got another speaking event uh, coming up too. What was that again?
The other area which is very exciting is that University of Strasbourg has invited me to prepare a second paper, which they like to publish globally on innovation and sustainability and ESG and SDG. University of Strasbourg is ranked #1 globally for innovation, and they are working very closely with the EU on their new innovation IP protection program, that is intellectual property protection. I think EU, recognize the importance of innovation in clean energy, I think with the Ukraine war and the problem with the Russian gas, the EU really wants to explore and promote clean energy growth and also new green technology, particularly in green hydrogen. That's why it's really, really exciting to be working with the University of Strasbourg and also with the EU on these new green areas, which could benefit all the countries globally and help to fight climate change.
President Biden, a couple of months ago, introduced a directive that we be electric car country by 2050. That's quite soon, and it comes with a lot of issues because we're way short of charging stations and things like that. But by 2050, we've got some years to put it together, so it can be done.
Yeah.
Will it get done? I don't know. That's going to be a bounce back and forth, and who knows if he did it at this timing because he's running for re-election and against an interesting opponent on the Republican side. I will say that. And, all of that, that becomes a daily trauma, for the American people. And it's been many decades since, I would say, the civil rights movement days, where America was so divided, trying to get back together with civil rights and all those kinds of things. But it got done, and it's for the good of the people. So we'll see how that all transpires. I've been talking somewhat about ESG and SDGs and the climate online in various venues, and it seems like it's encouraging that more people are talking about it. What's got me excited is more industries are talking about it now. That spread into other areas is really quite significant. And what do you think about that? How that's spreading? What do you see?
No, it's a very important point, Terry. I agree with you that the area about sustainability is really catching on with corporate and CEOs globally. I think it's very encouraging to see that in the COP meetings, over 1,000 CEOs from leading companies around the world all committed to carbon neutrality and reaching the carbon neutrality targets by 2050. So, they have to develop their carbon neutrality plans and net zero plans to ensure their companies can reduce emission and reach the carbon neutrality target that they committed to in the Paris Agreement. So I think that's why you can see that ESG and also SDG goals are becoming important. I mean, ESG stands for environmental, social, and governance, and SDG stands for the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Both of these are very important quantitative targets, which international companies and leading companies in the US, EU, China, and Asia has to set themselves these clear targets so that they can hit and achieve their carbon neutrality targets, which they have committed to in the Paris Agreement.
Yeah, the world is really getting it now more and more. Really every day, the severity of climate change, California could turn into a big desert if we don't get stuff on track there pretty soon. That's just one area. If they're not burned off the whole west coast of the United States, there is a lot working on this. Indonesia is all but going to sink. There's this is not something that we talk about on Saturday afternoon when we're bored. This is a high priority. Do something now. No matter what it is, be doing something for the climate and the environment every day. It is a daily thing. Ladies and gentlemen, and it starts with you at home. Thank you for listening in. It starts with you at home. Recycle. Take it seriously. All of this stuff works. The advances in the last couple of years, for instance, on the use of plastic trash is amazing. Clothes, building blocks, all kinds of things that can be used for all of that stuff. We've got to get on track. This is not, you better do it. It's do it right now. Henry?
Absolutely. I think you mentioned that waste and recycling are really becoming more and more important. I think this fits in with the whole development of the circular economy. I've been recently interviewed on the radio, invited by Radio Hong Kong to talk about this. And this is becoming a big issue because I think in Hong Kong, we've been working a lot and the government is pushing for waste reduction and recycling. And we've made some improvements and we're now in the recycling on 32%. But when before my radio interview, they asked me, and also in my work with G20, B20, I've really looked at the global developments. And this is very interesting to see that, some cities have really, really done very well. I mean, a good example is San Francisco. In the United States, it's achieved a recycling rate of about 80%. But on the other hand, China is also doing very well. Xiamen, which is a big city in Fujian province by the coast to the East China Sea, has achieved 70% recycling. So, a lot of cities around the world, these what we call leading cities, are really doing well and taking it very seriously. And this will help them to become, achieve circular economy and achieve carbon neutrality. So I think other cities would have to follow. And we have all a part to play because recycling starts with every one of us at home.
Exactly. Just the amazing advances with the individual wind generators that they're putting in little villages and stuff in Africa and in different places to help them out. I mention this often, the little water unit that takes water out of the air and puts it so you can drink it right there, and it can be in arid climates. It doesn't have to be in a tropical climate. And so you'll have good water, because good water is a massive problem in most of the world. People don't stop to really think about that there's a whole lot of people out there who drink dirty water because it's better than no water, and we all get to help with that. And yes, it's a small scale, but we're getting better every day. And more and more legislation is getting on track with, okay, oil and fossil fuels. Thank you for supporting me in my re-elections, but it's time for you guys to find a new job. And we've got to take care of our grandchildren, because right now, it's not going to be a good place for my grandkids to grow up in. And they get to, it's reality. The Gen Zers and the millennials, I'm excited about them because they're not going to take this. They're going to make actual movement towards getting this done, because by 2050 they're going to be in power and they have the power to get it done. You know, our generation talked about it. The next generation is doing something about it, but you Gen Zers and you millennials, you're going to do it, and you're doing it out of necessity. This is about survival. Earth isn't going anywhere, but humanity could. So it's a very, very important topic. Henry.
No, I agree with you. I think the green energy revolution is really affecting not only the developed countries like where we live in, like the US, Hong Kong, Europe, China, and other places, but it is going to benefit the underdeveloped countries and the developing economies. I've talked about it in my book on the renewable. There's 1 billion people at this moment in time without any access to electricity. The traditional electricity grid, which is generated by fossil fuel and then relying on power grids to distribute electricity. I mean, these people are living in remote villages, quite often in developing countries, in Africa, in Asia, and other areas. But the development of clean energy, solar power, wind power, like you say, coupled with advanced power distribution system, is allowing us to provide electricity on a distributed power basis to these remote villages and these 1 billion people. This is going to be tremendous development. And I think you made also a good point that, you know, the climate change affects everybody and every country. It's not an isolated problem that you see in one other country that is not going to affect us. What we have now seen is that this is a global problem. And in the work I've done with the G20, B20, and we've advised global leaders, is that if we don't do anything, the temperature rise could go as high as 4 degrees. And then you will be seeing a lot of flooding around the world, a lot of typhoon, a lot of hurricanes, a lot of extreme weather damages to countries and everywhere. So, you know, if we don't do anything, then the world, if you imagine by 2050, will be a much more uncomfortable world. In fact, it will be terrible to live in some places around the world. There will be flooding, heavy rainfall, extreme heat, and things like that. So it is important that we all work together to overcome climate change and global warming.
Yeah, and this is just the start of it. Massive migrations and everything. You know, there's over 3 billion people in danger of not only losing their homes to rising sea levels, but their lives as well. You know, it's much more than that. And Henry, I'm going to meet you tomorrow for coffee, and I cannot wait, my friend. This is going to be a tremendous occasion because we've been friends for years and have never shaken hands before. So I'm looking forward to it, my friend.
I'm too. I think this is wonderful that we'll be able to meet physically.
Absolutely. There will be pictures, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Thanks again, Henry, for coming. This was a terrific interchange, just like we always do.
Great. Okay. I've enjoyed our podcast together.
And thank you for listening in. And those of you who are watching our recording, thank you as well.